Camacho hangs on and he hits. He lost the point for head blows and illegal hitting in the last round, and it cost him a couple of points because Duran won that round. And you know something? I think Duran may have won this round too.
It's probably because of the work he did early in the round.
So we have 7 in the books. And if in fact the judges have it the way we do, it's a 2-point fight now.
It's too heavy. That's why you're getting tired. Don't wrestle with him, Papa. Use your jab in, out. You're not to stand up for one punch. He don't have no much stamina. If you whack and punch combination, he don't touch you. But you stay in front of him, you want to make it fight, Papa. Come on. Hey. Very good.
He's telling him to go ahead and just make sure that he does not stay in front of him. Combinations.
Come on. Come on. Hey, don't stand in the front, okay?
Seconds out.
All right. This is round 8 from the Pepsi Center in Denver, Colorado. Roberto Duran and Hector Macho Camacho. Duran has come on a little bit in the 6th and 7th round. This again is round 8.
Hector Roca giving the correct advice to Camacho. He doesn't need to run, but he just needs to keep his distance from Duran and not lay in there with him, and that's what's getting him fatigued.
And he's trying to get his distance now. Duran goes with a little soft right hand that gets the chin, but no power behind it. Nice cracking left hand shot by Hector Camacho that time. It doesn't seem to hurt Duran at all. Duran has that cut inside his mouth, but it's not really a factor in the fight.
There's Duran trying to use his head, so even though Camacho was penalized earlier, Duran, who has been known to, on occasion, use tactics that are just a little bit outside.
Hey, in his 120th fight, he knows them all, too. Hey, but Camacho is no stranger to odd happenings in a ring either.
There's Camacho going downstairs to the body. We haven't seen too much of that.
Here's a round that's up for grabs with 1:44 to go. Uppercut landed by Roberto.
In a certain odd way, if you want to look at something in Duran that is pretty interesting, it's the fact that even though he's not fighting well, and even though the man he's fighting against is 40 years old, to be 50 and hang in there in the 8th round in a certain way is laudable. And even that is something to give him credit for. Unfortunately, it's just not on a level that has created a lot of excitement, and Camacho hasn't been able to create the excitement with him.
But you know something, this isn't a real experienced fight city in Denver, and they know that these names, and they're thrilled to see these guys who are great legends, and consequently their reaction is pretty good. I mean,
they've been somewhat enthusiastic, and the problem is these guys need to give them a few more moments of that to cheer. So they've been the word is they've been accepting of this and more cordial than maybe could be the case in another city.
That's a good word, accepting of it. Well, it's sloppy at this stage. You don't need me to tell you that with 30 seconds to go in the 8th round. But, you know, I have the anticipation all the time, Al, that something exciting can still happen in this fight. There's a lot of grappling, but you had to expect that coming in here. You didn't expect to see two 25-year-olds, 28-year-olds in their prime. And they're working hard. They're working extremely hard. And you expected to see them tied up a lot.
Part of the problem
in
is
between,
Camacho's been very inaccurate at the inside.
Yeah. Closing seconds now of the 8th round. Yeah, the difference in the fight as the bell has ended the 8th round is the lack of accuracy of Roberto Duran.
And when you got close to him,
and power.
Yeah, and the fact that that if Camacho was a little more accurate in the inside with some of his punches, he'd be making a little more action happening. There's the records of these men since 1999. You see Camacho's been so much more active, and that's a big issue, plus the age factor, of course. Here we see he did get in a pretty good straight left hand. That's the kind of punch that he thought coming into this fight. A punch like this is the kind he thought would get Duran in the kind of trouble that would get him out of there. That's a good left hand for Camacho. It's exactly the kind of punch that sent Sugar Ray Leonard down, but it hasn't done so to Duran.
Ponle sazón a esa derecha. Pónsela.
Esa derecha de uppercut, Roberto.
Like that. In, out, combination, and move.
All right, here we go. Round number 9 from Denver. Roberto Duran and Macho Camacho. Hector Camacho opens up with a straight right jab in the face of Roberto Duran. Duran pouring around with a left hand and then tied up again.
I don't think most of us really expected to see round 9 in this fight. And maybe the two fighters didn't either, which much to their chagrin.
You know, long around the 3rd round, I didn't expect to see that either one of them would have the kind of energy that they have right now in the 9th round.
There was a beautiful two-punch combination by Camacho, the kind of which he was hoping to see more of himself. And we'll see as we head into these later rounds which man can sustain better. Clearly, Camacho is winning this fight. He's been the more active, the sharper of the two, landed the better punches. Only in the 6th round when Duran had a point go in his favor by it being deducted from Camacho. A round he also won. It was really the high point of this fight for him.
He had a pretty good 7th round, and then the 8th round started to turn back in Camacho's favor, and Camacho's out in front in the fight. We're in round number 9. A couple of minutes to go here, as you see. Camacho clearly landing more blows. His hand speed is quicker than his Duran. Every once in a while, Roberto gets through with a wild shot. You know, they just lean the heads against each other. Trying to go with that straight left hand. Does Camacho, that's his power shot, as you know.
Well, if nothing else, when this fight ends, it will be the fight in which Hector Camacho has done the least amount of movement ever in the history of his career. Except maybe the Leonard fight.
Well, I don't know if at close to age 40 if you can expect him to do the dancing that he ever did.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even recently, he's fought as recently as February.
Yeah.
He moves in fights. I mean, that's what he does. So, I mean, you would think a little bit more lateral movement would have been the case, but he hasn't done any of it at all. Very little.
And especially with all the pre-fight hooper of he wanted a 24-foot ring, and Duran wanted a 20-foot ring. They settled for a 22-foot ring.
They would have been fine with a 16-foot ring.
Yeah. They're standing right in there. There's a lot of hanging on, as you see. But when their hands are free, they're throwing. The difference is the accuracy. Duran is lacking the accuracy that Camacho has, and because of that, Camacho's nosing him up with some 10-9 rounds. Camacho looked like his legs are beginning to get really that fatigue that I saw in the very early portion of the fight. What I call loose in the knees, very flat-footed. We're coming up to the closing seconds now of the 9th round, a place we didn't expect to be. And the bell ends the 9th.
Interesting, Duran looked at Camacho. He wanted to glare at him, but I think he had the will to do that even. Listen.
That was the first time.
Oye, Roberto, tuviste lo que te hemos pedido, que termine
We've
con
been
ese
asking
gancho
you.
izquierda al cuerpo.
Throw
La
the
buena
left to the
derecha
body.
arriba y termina con un buen gancho.
And finish it off with a good
Tiene
hook
una
to
gana
the
de
lower
quedarse en la
body.
esquina de pinga. Oye, Roberto tiene una gana de quedarse en la esquina del carajo, ¿ok?
He does not want to come out. He wants to stay in his corner. He doesn't want to fight you anymore.
Well, interesting interpretation, but in the last round, it was Camacho that got more work done. That left hand glanced off the jaw of Duran, but was able to land nevertheless.
All right, here we go. Round number 10. Remember, this is scheduled for 12 rounds. Roberto Duran and the Macho Man, Hector Camacho, right at it again. Right in the center of the ring. Camacho up on the toes, tries to work downstairs with that right hand jab. He's short 3 times with it. Duran plodding around to his right. Goes to the right hand lead, tries to work downstairs. Camacho clearly with the hand speed. Duran leans on him and Macho just lets him walk away. And now he's complaining of a low blow, which I think is a little bit of acting, but he's getting away with it. And now they're taking a point away. Yeah, they are. They're taking a point away from Roberto Duran for a low blow.
Camacho's over here in the corner. He's looking at us saying, yeah, I was hit low. Well, he was hit low. I don't know how many times he was hit low by Duran, but that evens up the point deduction situation. Well, we knew it would be a busy fight for Bobby Ferraro. It's been a busier fight even than we imagined. Much more clutching and grabbing. A couple of times where he's had to take a point away.
Well, a lot of that has to do with fatigue and sloppiness, inaccuracy, the inability to hold the hands high on occasion. And both of these guys, throughout their career, you know, are subject to drawing low blows. Throughout the peak of their careers, I should say.
Absolutely.
Straight right hand gets through, but immediately counterpunched that time by Camacho in a three-punch flurry. Not a lot of power behind Camacho's punches, but enough to catch the eye of a judge. A couple of minutes to go here in the 10th. Don't forget again, I remind you, it's a 12-round championship fight. The NBA super middleweight title. Not one of the big 3 or 4 titles, but nonetheless, it's a world championship fight, as we pointed out.
Duran's still trying to land that straight right hand, and that's pretty much what he's throwing. I don't even think Duran's capable of really cranking up the left hook the way he should. He has not thrown that punch, and that was always an excellent punch for him.
And you know, Al, if he can't land the left hook against the southpaw, you can't hurt him to the body, and if you can't hurt him to the body, it's going to be very difficult to catch him with the right hand, especially with the timing off. I mean, Camacho just doing the best he can with his hands down, throwing punches inside, Duran hanging on.
The interesting thing is that while Camacho probably has won more rounds for sure, it has been, for him especially, a disappointing performance, ironically, because he's young enough for us to have expected him to show more flashes of excellence. He's young enough for us to have expected to see at least what he did against Sugar Ray Leonard. And we haven't seen that. Duran clearly has been a disappointment, but that isn't shocking because we would have been thrilled with whatever he would have shown us. But Camacho's had a tougher time in this fight. He was bold beforehand. He even walked right to Roberto Duran and has not been able to really land the kind of punches he wanted to, only on occasion. And yet, with all that, of course, is winning. And now finally this crowd getting a little impatient.
Now they're getting antsy is right. And it's the first time that they've shown it throughout the course of the fight. Well, this is going to be a 2-point round for Camacho, with Duran losing the point with a low blow.
Respírame.
Find the air, find the air.
Respira, Roberto, respira.
Breathe, breathe, Roberto.
Con un poquitico agua.
Take a little bit of water.
Dale. Ahí. Agua. ¿Quién quiere esto más que tú?
Who wants it more than you? Who wants it more than you?
¿Quién quiere esto más que tú, Roberto?
Who wants it more than you, Roberto?
Dímelo.
Well, there's the low blow, and it was very low by Duran, so... Oh, 2 of them. Well, guess what? Bobby Ferraro did exactly the right thing. There wasn't just one. There was 2 low blows by Duran. So he was very appropriate in taking that point away.
Now we're set to go. The 11th round of the scheduled 12-round NBA super middleweight title fight. It's been interesting. Now the referee calls timeout. Macho has a problem with his glove. There's some Vaseline on the glove, and his corner wipes it off. And he's set to go. Ferraro didn't want that to get in the eyes of Roberto Duran. Okay, 11th round, time back in. Camacho taps him with the jab, taps him up again. Tries to work downstairs, touches him up, taken on the gloves by Duran. Duran sits back on the ropes and then ties him up again. This has been sort of the way it's gone for the past 3 rounds. And the crowd's starting to get a little bit antsy. Part of the reason for that is they want Duran to do something so bad. Because Camacho, with his flair, Well, he's a nice kid to know in person. He's a guy that should be annoyed at throughout his